This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, January 8th, 2026. We tell you what you need to know, give you some context, and try, gosh darn it, to help each other understand.
It's the last day live from the floor of CES 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what's the best tech at CES this year? Well, we've got CNET's David Katzmaier, Digital Media Zone's Richard Gunther, and the amazing Trisha Hershberger here to tell us.
I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb.
I'm Trisha Hershberger.
Back at headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Sarah Lane.
And also remote, I am Roger Chang.
Well, the best of CES has been named, and CNET's editor-in-chief, David Katzmaier, is here to tell us all about the winners, and that is our big story. David, you survived.
I can't believe it's the last day of CES. I feel like I've been here for pretty much all year.
Yeah, you get that feeling like you live here now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have really been there pretty much all year.
Well, I guess technically, but maybe even 2025 at this point.
So CNET has been awarding the official Best of CES awards for a while now. Can you run through a little bit about what that means, how they're selected, what's the selection process, all of that?
Right. So the idea is these are the awards that are sanctioned by the CTA that puts on CES, and there's a bunch of other websites mentioning Best of CES. No shade on any of those, but we're the official ones. So the idea is CNET in partnership with PC Mag, Mashable, Lifehacker, and ZDNet, which are all owned by Ziff Davis Media Group, got together. And this is the first time we've really ever gone this hard. So we have 22 categories, and we had to pick at least 2 to 3 finalists for each category. And then we put out that story, it was yesterday morning, it feels like, again, a week ago. Yeah. And then we ended up later in the day going on stage here in the Central Hall and announcing the winners among those categories.
Yeah, I ran into Ayaz Akhtar, who was doing the travel category, and he was like furiously taking notes and like running all over the place. So
it's a scramble. Yeah, it is.
So, best overall, Samsung Galaxy Fold. Mm-hmm. What was the thinking behind giving that the overall win?
Yeah, so I mean, CES is just a grab bag. There's everything here. There's robots that are never going to come out. There's salt spoons. There's bizarre AI companions,
vibrating knives.
Right, and there's a lot of stuff that's like really kind of industry, if you will. Right, never going to see the consumer's hands. This is not. This is something that's coming out this year. It's a tri-folding phone. Basically standard folding phone, folds open like a book in half. This folds open 3 ways, and it's pretty much the size of a tablet, right? So I love the promise of being able to take one thing. Like, we've been talking about this for a long time. Like, how many things do we have to take? We got our laptop, we got our phone, potentially an iPad or whatever it is. This device promises, to potentially replace all that. And I just like the idea of having a big ass screen, Tom. To me, that's like, just give me as much screen as I can on a phone.
When you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then when you fold it up, it's generally it's a little bit thicker, regular phone size, but Samsung has come so far in the durability of the hinges and the thinness of the individual, pieces of the accordion, if you will. So it really feels to us like that kind of solid product. And, they've been doing folding phones for a while, so we're really excited to get our hands on it and try it out, in the real world.
And cool to be able to give it to a shipping product.
Right. Well, that was a lot of the things that ended up winning. So another category was, you guys have seen this because it was one of the big splashes of the show, was a Lego Smart Brick, right?
Yeah, right.
This is like a real thing, and it's like a super innovative thing that Lego did, is allowing, communication between bricks and activations of sound and lights and proximity sensors, accelerometers. It has this little charging mat that you put the bricks on, and you can imagine a kid like assembling a thing and like just experimenting with a minifig that walks up and like sets off a trap or whatever it is, and these things are shipping in March, and they start at $70. So I mean, it's really cool that they're doing this. So we try to highlight real products at CES.
It's so real. There's already a backlash against it.
Yeah,
which means it must be legitimate.
Yeah.
I also we're not going to go through all 22 categories. You need to go to CNET for that, and I highly encourage you to do so. But I was curious about Willow. I didn't actually get to see that one. That's like wireless power.
Yeah. So again, we talked about the real products. This is a product that is so cool that we really hope it's real. So these guys, it's a startup, not proven in any way, but it's essentially, imagine like a charging force field that sets up in a place and whatever you bring into it magically starts wireless charging. So obviously we know wireless charging today a little limited. You got to have a thing that works with your thing, especially to maximize full charging speed and capacity and all that. This promises to eliminate all of that, dongles, charging, wires, and everything. So it's, again, kind of pie in the sky, but we wanted to take a flyer on it, and the demo really impressed Katie Collins, one of our editors.
Because we've seen people trying to do this before,
Yep.
But it seems like this one might actually be close to actually working. In the
Right,
real
and
world,
they're of course what companies like this have to do is talk to device manufacturers, talk to the Samsungs and Apples of the world, and the accessories on the charging side, and try to figure out how to get this implemented in the market, which
Yeah.
is always the hard thing, especially with mobile.
Because it does have to have hardware in the device to be able to take advantage
Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Right? But I mean, who wouldn't want to just wirelessly charge by walking into a room?
It's honestly very three-body problem, and I love it.
Yes, yeah.
Also, I thought it was interesting and kind of heartening that Intel Core Ultra 300, aka Panther Lake, got the deep computing.
I mean, so we're in our room, 40 plus editors, right? Like we bring in people. It was a 6-hour process. Right, and we literally sit as editor in chiefs, like kind of like we're hearing their dissertation, right? So there's cohorts, we call them, of 3 editors, often mixing all these different publications that I mentioned. They'll come sit down and present, a list, and they have like, okay, here's what should win, here's second, here's third, and usually we're like, yeah, that's good, and this one was, I think, the shortest deliberation ever.
Really?
Of all of the categories. We're like, yep, slam dunk, bye. Like, it was not even close. And by the way, the other thing in that category was NVIDIA's Rubin, which was, the big splashy announcement at the show. But, again, we're a consumer-facing publication. AI, NVIDIA won last year, by the way, for our Best of CES. Right. That's not a disqualifier. It's fine. But at the end of the day, Rubin's just like, it's another AI data center chip that can do this. This is, again, kind of taking... a real consumer product. These Panther Lake chips, I was talking to my laptops editor, Josh Goldman. He's like, look, what's cool about this is it's going to be in everything. And every time a laptop guy talks about how great their laptop is, the reason is because Panther Lake, right? All the 2026 laptops are going to get this, and it's going to improve everything, battery life, speed. He was talking about a 43-hour battery life laptop, for example. So those are the kind of things that this is just going to spread. It's going to raise all tides. And I think what the Windows computer guys are hoping is that it's going to start to compete with Apple's M chips. So.
Yeah, and Intel needs that.
Yes, absolutely.
No doubt. Sarah, what on this list caught your eye?
So mentioning travel tech, so I guess IaaS is on the case there. But the JitLife Rideable Luggage caught my eye because I did not know Rideable Luggage was a thing. Apparently, in certain markets, people at airports are very used to seeing somebody sit on their carry-on luggage and be able to scoot around an airport. Depends on how big the airport is, of course. Or if you've got a bad back or whatever it is. But I guess these guys can go up to 8 miles an hour. That's pretty fast.
Yeah, and by the way, I see what you did there. Rideable luggage it's a travel tech category that I didn't know existed either until I was in LaGuardia earlier, coming out here, and I saw a little kid with like a little, tiny little, basically a bicycle attached to a suitcase. This is the suitcase with a motor, and you talk about speed. This was able to support Jordan, another editor in chief for Ziff Davis, 250-pound guy, 6'3".
Yeah, it can go up to 250 is what the company says.
Yeah, you're right. So he's almost there. He's a really big dude, and he's like sitting on this thing, like, yeah, I'm moving. It's really cool.
I mean, it's you look at again, I haven't seen this in person, but you look at the photos and videos, and you think, this. I mean, you're gonna get stared at, that's for sure. I had no idea this was a product category. I would like one.
Yeah, that's what CES does. You're like, really? This exists? And why didn't it exist until now? Yeah.
So, Sarah, fun story. I wrote it around CES yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. I went to their booth and I was like, is it okay if I try this and like film a little bit for social media? And they were all about it. Love that. And yeah, it goes so much faster than you think it does.
Really?
Like I sat on it and I like gently started and it's like a throttle, like a motorcycle. And the more you twist, like that 8 miles per hour feels really fast.
It is
really funny.
I mean,
And
if
you
you
know
were
how
like
crowded
power
CES
walking,
is.
8 miles an hour is pretty fast.
I mean, imagine getting that with like one of those moving walkways. Like those can go pretty fast sometimes in the newer thing.
Oh,
And you're just like, beep, beep. Like, it's got to have a horn, right? I don't know. I didn't test it, but that would
Now,
be great.
one of the questions I had, and Trisha, you would probably know, is there a place to put your feet, or do they just kind of
Like,
Just
are there
stay off the
pegs?
ground.
Foot
there's
pegs.
there's foot pegs. So you
Okay.
put your feet on there, and then there's these little handlebars that again just kind of feels like an e-bike or something like that with a little throttle. But it's really funny, and you know how crowded CES is. So I didn't hit anyone. I felt pretty good about that as I was riding around CES. But all I could think is, I need one of these for the airport.
Yeah.
Or not even the airport, like the show floor. Like imagine the last day you're catching a
Yes.
flight, you have to bring your friggin' suitcase around the show floor to meet your meetings, and then get on the airport. This, you're just riding around the show floor, that'd be perfect.
Is it able to be carried on? Can you remove the battery, or is it?
I don't know.
I mean, it
Trish?
I
wouldn't
mean,
be
it
able to-
has to be a carry-on because
Yeah, 'cause you can't
otherwise
put
you
it
would
in
check
the-
it
in
and
the
not
check
be able
luggage.
to use it.
Right, right.
They have it listed as okay for carry-on, but I didn't specifically
wonder
ask
how
what
that
type of
works.
battery
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in it.
I think it'd be smart to have a detachable version that you could bring on as the carry-on, and then have a big boy that you can check, and then when you get there, you just snap them together.
Snap it back. Yeah, that's what I was.
So like a board that you plug your suitcase onto.
Yeah, that was our other travel tech winner, by the way. It was a wheel that you attach to a wheelchair, right?
Yeah,
A
the
standard
wheel- Oh, yeah.
wheelchair. Yeah,
We talked about this yesterday.
It's a really cool accessibility product because it allows you to go to like another country or whatever, and where you can get like a normal wheelchair and just like strap it on, all of a sudden make
Yeah.
it motorized. It's really
And
cool.
and there are other products like that before, but this one was just so well designed and really easy
Yeah.
to use. It didn't take a lot of setup. The Coro was interesting. Tell me about that one.
So this is our wellness winner, and it's a breastfeeding monitor. And again, going back to like, I can't believe they haven't thought about this already, right? So the idea is, you want to, a lot of times you want to be able to track the milk that's being fed to the kid. So you're in a situation where you don't know actually, and some health conditions require you to get that. Our writer was saying like this would have helped his premature baby have this tracking of the actual content going in. You can do it really easily with a bottle, but you don't get that skin to skin. You don't get the benefits of having breastfeeding. So this is essentially a little unobtrusive attachment that will allow you to track that.
And then we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about robots, because the Strutt EV1 is technically a robot.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
almost everything here is a robot.
Yeah, I think we had 2 or 3 different winners across various categories that ended up just being robots. That was our transportation category, which is again it's kind of like a supercharged Rascal. So imagine a Rascal that will drive anywhere you want autonomously, right? So you don't have to drive it. Folks that have trouble navigating or whatever for any reason, or you just want to fall asleep in your Rascal, who doesn't, right? And just set this thing on go, and it'll drive you. Another maybe like dream convention center, accessory. We got to have like a separate category, best for actually covering CES.
Yeah.
Best moving around Las Vegas.
Right, exactly.
Technology. That'd be great. All right, before I let you go, I have a soft spot for Best of CES because we used to do it at Tech TV way back in the day, and of course I was at CNET when CNET started to do it. And back in those days, you covered televisions. And you are one of the best in the business still at covering televisions. So what won the television Best of?
So this year, a category close to my heart, Tom, absolutely. This was the Samsung S95H. So OLED TVs are obviously the best picture quality. This is bigger and better. They came out with this anti-glare technology a couple years ago, which I really like. It's controversial among the TV nerd set because there are some downsides. But in a room, you often have the glare catching the screen and hurting your video quality. This thing stops that, and it's supposed to be better than it was before. Samsung's OLEDs have gotten better and better. They have QD OLED technology that allows it to be brighter, better picture, and all that. So that was our winner. Again, a practical product's coming out. Not like a concept thing or a gigantic TV that you can't afford.
Did the judges in this category make sure you were cool with it?
The dissertation, back to that,
Yeah,
I gave him a little bit of a grilling, but they're good. They're a little trial by fire.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, David, thanks so much for talking with us. Thanks for bringing the Best of CES to it. By the way, David just became editor-in-chief of CNET at CES.
Thank you. It was bizarre to walk into our war room where we're doing all these nominations and everything, and have 40 plus editors find out I found out the day before I was getting it, and we stood up and had a nice moment. It was really good because it kicked off the show. With the bang and everything.
And well deserved, man. I was very happy when Lindsay told me that. So
I appreciate it, Tom.
congratulations.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Have a great rest of your show. Man.
Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to come back anytime.
All right. And by the way, folks, go to CNET to get the rest of, like, because you said there's 22 categories.
Oh yeah, it's a long scroll. It's worth it, and then you can read all about all our coverage and video and all that related to the winners.
Excellent. Thanks, man.
All right.
Thank you.
DTNS is made possible by all of you listening. Some of you are watching live or watching after the fact. Thank you to one and all, and a special thanks today to Reed Fischler, Larry Bailey, and Michelle Sergio. All right, there are a few news items worth noting today. We'll just, I don't know, we'll call them the briefs, shall we? Yeah, we shall. Let's start with Google, which is bringing new Gemini features to Gmail. Gmail can give you a summary when you search your email, just like it does with web search. Pro and Ultra subscribers will now get a proofreading tool that puts a dotted underline on text for which it has suggestions for revising. Trusted testers are getting an AI inbox, which puts the emails that it thinks are a priority at the top of your list and then creates a catch me up summary of what it considers less important emails. I hope this works well. Email summaries, which are on individual emails themselves, help me write, and suggested replies are now rolling out to free users.
Yes, free users. So, do you want more Gemini in your Gmail, Sarah?
No. I already feel like why is the social tab there? There are so many things I have issues with Gmail, but I've just used it so long I just suffer through it. But I don't like anything that's like, hey Sarah, this is your priority. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know what my day is like. Don't do that. Just give it to me chronologically. Thank you.
You know, it's weird. I wouldn't mind if it did, like, you need to pay this bill because you get the little, bill notice in your email. Except that I sometimes get so much email that stuff gets buried and I miss it, and I only catch it because I get an alert.
Yeah,
as a
that's
text on my
true. If
phone.
it was some sort of banking category that, especially if you can futz with your own settings and just be like
And if you could
anything like that, just flag it, put it at the top. I could see it working if it works well.
It's weird because, Gmail has all sorts of features, but will not let you add additional tabs that you can customize.
Well, I turn off the tabs altogether and just go with the priority and then general boxes, and not not this Gemini deciding what's priority for me, but whatever Gmail has used in the past. And I can mark things priority or not, and it will remember that sender for the future, whether they're important to me or not. And I've been using it for so long now that it is fairly accurate, so I kind of don't want Gemini in there messing with a good thing. I figured it out already. Don't mess
with it. Yeah, and you can turn it on and off. So you could say no, I don't want you messing with that. OpenAI is adding a health tab to the ChatGPT app. Information shared in the health tab will not be used in other types of chats. So that's the idea. It doesn't do anything much different than just asking it a health question normally, but you can say, this is a health question. Please don't remember this when you're talking about other things. You can also go in and delete the health-related chat memories that it has within that tab. And the company says it will not be using this data to train its models. OpenAI is testing it with a small group first. You can sign up on a wait list, though the company says it does plan to open it to all iOS and web users in the coming weeks. This is one of those things where people are using it this way. So this is ChatGPT saying, let me give you a few more options for guardrails there.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hand-wringing online yesterday, I would never, this is really bad idea. And it's like, well, I mean, it could be, but it could also be really helpful.
I think it's worse to not have this. And, except I guess you can make the argument that you are encouraging people to use it when you have that tab there, right?
Yeah, I think I would like to see almost some HIPAA-like compliance stuff come into this, because this is the future. We're going to be talking to AI about our health. So we have some pretty strong laws on what doctors and nurses and health professionals can do with your information. I'd like to see that spill over into the AI world as well.
I mean, I might want to be able to ask it about, a cut or a rash without having to worry about, because that's not something that's terribly sensitive, but I might not want that in my chat history. But you should be very careful what you put in there, even if you're using the new health tab with the memories, and decide whether that's worth it for you to have that in there at all or not.
Yeah, I keep having chatbots say when you get your medical reports, you can just upload them and we'll give you a summary and explanation of what it means. And I'm like, or I could not.
Yeah.
I have copied and pasted like very specific things and said, my father-in-law has this issue. Just, I don't know.
I mean, it's sort of an argument for having a localized, LLM or something. You
something
can
with
have.
local, yeah, something on device that you don't have to worry about cloud services and all that. Yeah.
In a CES world filled with new robots, one of them has met its end.
Oh no.
Yeah, we got to pull one out.
We're gonna-
Samsung's Bally, the little rolling ball that was introduced at CES 2020 and at last year's CES, was announced that it will not be going forward. It's not going to completely be gone. Samsung, it looks like they're going to still continue to use it. They've told Bloomberg that it has indefinitely been shelved, but they will keep it around internally, just to, I guess to make people feel good about it. They worked on it. It's not all the way gone, but yeah,
It'll be literally on a shelf internally.
literally on a shelf. So
That's where
Bali
they keep the art
I mean,
from
it was
Raiders of the
just
Lost Ark.
December that TechRadar was told, yeah, it's not going anywhere. We're still working on it. Just don't have any announcements at CES. So, yeah,
Well,
bummer.
there you go. All right. You may have noticed that Richard Gunther has joined us now to talk about some of the smart home stuff that he saw at CES. Richard, welcome. It's good to have you.
Yeah, glad to be here. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. I have seen a lot of smart locks out there, and it's kind of hard
Yes.
to tell which ones are new and which ones
Yes.
are interesting. And you've got one to point out to us.
We are going to talk about smart locks. So this year there has been not a whole lot of amazing, cool, new, crazy stuff, but just good evolutions and uses of technology in products we're used to seeing, products that might almost be commoditized, like locks. So as an example, really one of the favorite things I've seen out there is a new smart lock, the U400 from Aqara. Aqara is a Chinese company that has a bunch of products in the US market, and they're starting to get much more attention now because their products are all Matter compatible. Matter is the standard that ensures that the product's going to pretty much work with anything. And that is the case with this new lock. And what's amazing, in my opinion, about this lock is all of the flexibility it adds. So you're used to seeing locks that have number keypads on them. You're used to seeing now where you can tap to unlock or you can use your finger to unlock. Of course, we've had apps and you can use the app in your voice and stuff like that. This adds something, and I think it's the first implementation of this from Apple's ultra wideband on their iPhone. So just walking up to the door is going to unlock it. And it's smart enough to know if you're inside or outside. It's smart enough to know if you're approaching it or walking by it, whether it should lock or unlock or not. Really slick product. Like I said, it's going to be compatible with anything. It also has just a plain old keyway. If you're worried about losing a key or it not working and you still want to use a key, you can do that as well.
That's cool.
I mentioned iPhone because it's specifically tailored to that, but you will be able to use it with your Samsung wallet later this year as well. And this is actually already available. It launched this week, and it goes for under $270, which is a fairly competitive price for all of that. I talked to the guy from Consumer Reports who reports on smart home stuff, and he loves it. They think it's a really good product, and I am excited to see it come to market. It's interesting because they're taking the approach where you want it to work with everything, and I'll contrast that with a lock that the folks from Chamberlain released recently as part of the MyQ ecosystem. It's a combination smart lock and video doorbell, and it only works with Chamberlain MyQ, nothing else.
Yeah.
So very different approaches that we're seeing companies take.
I think it's interesting that Aqara is very simple in the sense of like it's a lock, it's got a keypad, a key, and an ultra wideband. It's not trying to be a video doorbell, it's not trying to be anything else, but it's open. So there's lots of ways for you to open it.
Right, exactly, and have it respond to other devices in your home through whatever ecosystem you choose.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. All right, an irrigation system has caught your eye. Anybody with a lawn, listen up.
So, irrigation systems are usually pretty expensive, and we've seen stuff that you can tie into your hose and it'll have the water come on at certain times and such. But a couple companies have come out with systems that are much smarter than that. And you may recognize the name Aper as a company that makes pool cleaning robots.
Okay.
Well, they're also now in the irrigation space, and they have a product called
They know water. So
Yeah, water, exactly, exactly. And they now have a product called IriSense 2, and it's about the size of like a fire hydrant, I'd say. And I would consider it a smart water cannon. You take this thing and just put it out in your lawn, maybe centrally or maybe in a corner somewhere, and it can spray various types of sprays depending on what it's watering, up to like 12 meters away. So a pretty significant space, and you can define over a dozen zones so that it knows to water your flowers differently and maybe even at a different time than the lawn itself and than bushes that you have on the property. It takes into consideration all the stuff that you would expect from an irrigation system, like a high-end irrigation system that knows what the weather forecast is going to be like and knows if it's actually wet out there yet already. So it's a pretty slick system. It comes in just under $500, and that's going to be coming out later this quarter.
Catnip Ninja wants to know if you can program it to spray the neighbor's dog if it tries to go in your yard.
Well, so it's funny because I did ask them if they have any plans to integrate it with sensors so that I can make sure that my dog doesn't get sprayed. And that's not something that they're doing yet.
Yeah. It's kind of like a high-tech version of the old plastic thing that you put in and would just rotate around. It's kind of dumb, right? This is like, oh, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in a way that uses the water sensibly.
You're going to use the water sensibly, and you're going to water different types of things in your yard appropriately.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that one. All right, you got one last one to talk about, but it's AT&T.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention that people have heard about AT&T being in smart home, and they kind of pulled away from it a couple years ago because everybody thinks, oh, yay, it's a money grab. They just want something else to add to my bill. And their pricing tiers didn't argue against that theory. So now they've partnered with Abode, which is a company that makes security systems, to white label a system for them that they can sell you up front in packages of devices for around your home. And you can have it installed or install it yourself. Abode's a pretty consumer-friendly product line. It'll also work with anything from Google Home, anything that works as part of the Google Home ecosystem. Now, both of those services currently charge a fee for video access and monitoring and stuff like that.
Subscription fee.
All AT&T is doing is putting it under one umbrella on your bill so that for a total of either $11 to self-monitor as many devices as you have around your home, or $22 a month for actual physical monitoring where someone is responding and so forth, for $22 a month, and that's it. No other fees. So you don't pay the Google fee anymore. You don't pay. So if you, for example, have a Nest doorbell, you're paying a fee for that. You would not pay that anymore. You would not pay any fee for Abode video access. It's all one fee through AT&T. I think they got it right this time.
Yeah, that's it. So if I have this right, because it sounds almost too good to be true, I want to make sure I repeat it back to you. If I have Google Home products like Nest Cams and Nest doorbells and Abode products, I can get AT&T to provide the service for all of that for either $11 or $22.
Correct.
That's and there's no cell phone plan involved. This is just AT&T providing the cloud service of it, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really impressive, and it's funny because some colleagues of mine, when I said I wanted to go talk to the AT&T folks, they're like, "Why?"
That's pretty great. Yeah, I don't know Abode very well. Do they have decent products? Do you
They
like
do.
them?
I've tested some of their home security systems. They have units that are pretty extensive. They also have just standalone things that work well in apartments. So a pretty flexible system. It's based on Z-Wave. So it's been around for a while, but that also means that it's robust. I mean, a lot of the security world is still based on Z-Wave, and Z-Wave's getting better and better now with the long-range capabilities that it offers.
I wish it was Matter.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Roger, I feel like you have a question.
No, I was just wondering, at what point does Is there a way where a consumer can just go into a big box store or whatever and just buy with confidence, knowing that whatever they get is going to work with something else without necessarily having all that background information? Like we're like, if my sister, who's not super tech savvy, can just like, hey, I need something to connect with something else. And like it worked like Wi-Fi. Like, oh, I have Wi-Fi. I have a laptop that uses Wi-Fi. 9 times out of 10, it's going to work with whatever.
Right. Yeah, and it's a fair question. I think that's what Matter is really trying to do. I think they're getting closer to that. We're seeing Matter on boxes all over the place. In fact, we're seeing Matter on boxes, sometimes replacing the labels like works with Google, works with that. Because if it works with Matter, it works with Matter. It works with anything that works with Matter. I think the thing they need to still educate people on and maybe simplify in terms of branding or labeling is this concept of a border router or a router, which is really a hub that makes the Matter stuff work. That's language consumers don't know or understand, so they really need to kind of help people understand, okay, you need some kind of a home base. You may already have one.
Yeah.
Or if not, these products work that way, and then you can connect any of this stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, if some TVs do this, if they have an Apple TV, it does it. If they have an Echo, it does it. Like, there's so many things that do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the thermostats that I saw from Aqara includes its own
home
hub. So, yeah.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Richard. That's good stuff. And there's so much, especially in the smart home space, out there. So I appreciate you helping us kind of cut through and focus on a few
Absolutely. No AIs were injured here.
All right, let's check in on some quick headlines that are just good to know if you want to understand the news.
Bloomberg sources say the Chinese government plans to approve purchases of NVIDIA H200 chips this quarter for select commercial use, but it will prohibit military, sensitive government agencies, critical infrastructure, and state-owned companies from buying them.
That begrudging, like, all right, fine. We'll let you buy some stuff. European Commission has extended an order for X to retain internal documents and data related to Grok until the end of 2026. This is part of a continuing investigation of the generation of non-consensual sexual images by Grok.
Alphabet's market cap, a calculation of its stock value, passed Apple this week to take the second spot. For the first time since 2019, NVIDIA remains number one at the top of the list.
Ooh, it's not happening fast, but Apple is just slipping down, and it's the stock market, so it's not necessarily means everything, but that is an interesting thing to note.
Spotify announced a new messages feature Wednesday that lets users see what their friends are listening to in real time and then sends requests to start a collaborative listening session called Jams.
Let's jam.
Let's jam, man.
And Apple announced it will switch from Goldman Sachs to JP Morgan Chase as the bank behind the Apple credit card. It will remain a MasterCard, but you will get issued a new card when this happens. If you have an Apple savings account, you'll be able to choose whether you want to stay with Goldman or switch to JP Morgan Chase. And this transition isn't happening tomorrow. It's expected to take about 2 years.
If you've got feedback about anything that has been going on here at CES, please let us know about it. You can get in touch with us on the socials at DTNS Show on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. For TikTok and YouTube, you can find us at Daily Tech News Show.
All right, Trisha, let's talk about what you wanted to focus on this year at CES and what stood out to you.
So every year at CES, I get major FOMO because there's no way one person can see everything, right? Which is why I love coming here and talking to all of you so that we can meet the minds and see what there is to see. But out of what I did get a chance to see this year, probably top TV for me, which I was surprised it didn't make CNET's top TV list, is TCL's SQD Mini LED. Yes. It's just gorgeous. It's TCL's approach and kind of a different approach to the RGB Mini LEDs that we're seeing out there. And it's super, super bright, and the picture is stunningly gorgeous. I was able to go to a press event under embargo about a month-ish ago, where I looked at that TV, the SQD Mini LED, next to two of the other top contenders, no names to be said there, but next to two of the other top TVs in the market, and honestly, the picture blew me away. in certain situations. So it's one of those that all these different TV technologies really shine in certain situations. So depending what you watch more, right? Like OLED obviously for contrast, but the best way I can describe what SQD mini LED looks like from a viewer perspective is similar, or in some cases almost interchangeable with OLED. In terms of the contrast, but much brighter, richer colors. And so it was just stunning. I really liked it. I don't know if anybody else got a chance to see it, but it was gorgeous.
I did. That TV is absolutely beautiful. It gives you the, am I looking at a TV or am I looking out of a window until you perceive, okay, it's not 3D, it's just really clear. But man, that thing looks good. It looks so good.
Well, and if I understand it right, they have fewer dimming zones, so it's like RGB in that respect, right?
They were saying up to 20,000 dedicated dimming zones.
Or I'm sorry, more dimming
Yeah,
zones.
more
Yeah,
dimming
Smaller
zones.
dimming
So it's-
areas.
Yeah,
Small-
more,
that's what I was-
smaller dimming areas, more dimming
zones.
Exactly.
So that they can achieve some of that color control, even though they're using the blue or the white LEDs instead of the RGB ones. But that brings the price down. But this shouldn't be more expensive.
So they'll be able to do those nice, large-size televisions that TCL really has made a vast jump in that part of the market for the big TVs, but with this picture quality.
Yeah. Now I know you're always on the hunt for some PC stuff. What'd you find there?
Always. So I'm a PC enthusiast. I love to build strange-looking PCs. And so for that this year, what I found was Cooler Master has a case that has a little stage on the front of it, and they have a new adapter for it. So the stage before was very small, so you could put a little small figure on there. Some of the cases have an LED panel behind it, so you could like show a cool background behind your action figure as the front of your tower, right? And this year at CES, I saw they now have an extender for that stage. Apparently they got enough feedback that people want to put a bigger figure, so a figure that's maybe as tall as your entire case. That's going to take a little bit more depth. So there's just a little stage extender you can pop on the front. But if you haven't seen the way that they do this, there's even little pin lighting at the top so that your action figures are perfectly displayed. I collect toys and like PCs, so this was a nice
perfect.
meeting
Nice
of the worlds
intersection.
for me.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was very cool. And then the other thing I saw in the PC world that was cool is from Thermaltake. They had this PC that the best way I can describe it is a bunk bed PC. So it's actually like two PCs stacked on top of each other, like two full sets, but in one case. So I've heard people describing this as like the best gaming couples PC because it's one tower you can pop in the middle and then just have two separate setups. But it was really stunning to look at, and of course it was just an example of things you could do within this case, but it was really neat.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And it fits 2 power supplies.
Oh yeah,
And all that.
it's great.
Yeah, I'm interested in the extended stage because it sounds like I can probably fit my GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
Do a whole G.I. Joe themed
That's
build.
awesome.
I need to see it.
Oh yeah,
It's awesome.
that would be amazing. All right, gaming stuff. Did you find any good gaming stuff?
Gaming stuff. I'm not sure if anybody else saw this, and this is one that cool maybe. HyperX paired up with another company that does like brainwave reading technology to make a gaming headset that can read your mind. Is how it's being pitched.
Oh, so like the ones where you can control the stuff.
So
right?
it's not control. It's not
Okay.
giving you, mental input. What it's doing is giving you real-time data of your mental state.
Oh, okay.
So there's 2 different applications that they had suggested for it that were interesting to me. There was one for esports pros to be able to make sure that they're calm and focused before a match, and they had a software that would kind of help you get in that state a little bit, but you could monitor in real time, so know when you're ready to game. And then there was one that they had suggested for streamers potentially to use, so that chat could see in real time, like if the streamer's tired, maybe they need a break, and
All right,
if
we're
they're
all getting
stressed
these.
out, right? And so I just thought it was really interesting. I don't know that it's something I'm like rushing out to incorporate into my setup, but it was definitely something I hadn't seen before, so that stuck out to me.
Yeah, no, that is fascinating. It's the kind of thing where I'm not sure exactly what it's for yet. Like I can kind of get the esports part of it, but I bet somebody's going to figure out some really interesting ways of implementing that.
For sure.
All right, what else? Anything else?
The other thing I'd like to round it out with was just so many robots. And Rob, I hear
Oh, yeah.
you are on this page with me of the robot roundup at E CES.
So many robots does not encapsulate the number of robots that are here. So Tom and I think last week or week before last, we kind of just threw out how many robots will we actually get to walk up to and see up and close. I think you said
Well, I didn't think I'd be walking around that much, so I said something in the 20s, which was like
Oh,
so you-
so low.
You went with 21. I went with 33. I stopped counting at 53. I said, okay, if I can get
So
a full
many.
20 over the number that I've seen, there are so many. I kid you not, I saw at least 110, 115 robots that I actually looked up and said, ooh, another robot. Ooh, another robot. So robots are here. And we got some pictures of them. It's here is a robot that cuts your grass.
Thank you,
But in
robot.
case you've got dog toys or stuff in the yard, it's got a robotic arm that will pick stuff up and move it out of the way
Love it.
when it cuts your grass. We've got robots that look like little dogs. That actually look like dogs. We've got robot dogs that don't look like dogs. This one is really cool. This is an actual bobcat. So this is a robot bobcat. So you don't have to sit out in the sun and dig the hole or move the gravel. It will actually just do it for you. You can stay. Even though bobcats have had air conditioning on them for years, probably for decades, you don't even have to be in them anymore. These things will just go out and do what you need them to do.
Nice.
So just scroll through the pictures. Here is a drone. Actually, I got to interview the CEO and one of the co-founders of Helio yesterday. So these are drones. They look like these are not the DJI drones that just got banned. These drones do all kind of things. Here are robots that just they track your mood. They smile at you. They don't really do a whole lot. They're not expensive, but they just kind of look at you and smile.
They're just
back
your
at
buddy.
You. They're just your buddy. So there are all kind of drones. Now, this one we talked about Yarbo last year. They've built a smaller one. For folks who are like, it's just a little bit too big for me. So the gist here is that there are drones. There are robots everywhere. Now this one is really cool. I definitely wanted to get this one for my dad. So. Chess you've been able to play chess for a long time, through computers. But this is an actual robot that will move the pieces for you, and you can play online with anybody else in the world who either has another one of these devices or has a app that they could interface with this, and you can just play actual chess and have the pieces physically move for you.
That is so cool.
So-
I'm so sad I missed that one.
I have no idea what this robot does. It looked kind of like Wall-E. I thought it was cute. So
Like Wall-E.
So here is the robot dog that doesn't look like a dog, but it's actually rolling over and playing dead like a dog. So there's just robots here at CES 2026 this year.
So many robots. I saw a robot that could make you a drink, like a bartender robot. Lots of coffee robots.
Oh,
So
yeah.
many robots.
Yeah, and all the ones that I took pictures of are the ones that they look like robots. Most of the robots that are here don't look like robots. They are excavators. They are combines. They are cars that have level 4 or level 5 driving that we won't see here anytime in the near future. They are in everything, and if you have a device that's going out and is doing stuff autonomously on its own, it technically is a robot. This last one's a little video of robots doing dance moves in Tai Chi, and I'm just thinking, it's like, why are we so hell-bent on building Terminators? I don't know,
Yeah.
but we have robots that can now fight each other.
The viral video is the one that punches itself and then falls down onto the ground.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've seen another one where the humanoid robot just runs into a mirror repeatedly and the whole mirror is destroyed.
They're almost all from Chinese companies too. That is something to note. More than 40 humanoid robot startups began in China in 2025. That's according to Orbach, which does visual perception systems. So they kind of know who's making these. And the buzzword to watch is physical AI. You hear people say physical AI, you're going to hear people saying physical AI a lot more. That means putting the smarts into the machine, right? Not just the humanoid robot, but the combine and all of that kind of thing. And that's where all these platform companies want to go. They want to create the physical AI infrastructure to sell to those Chinese companies that are making the robots or they want to sell to us so that we don't have to fold our laundry.
Yep, I definitely saw a robot make a bed yesterday.
Did it make it well?
It did. It even smoothed the comforter out when it was done. I was impressed.
I put on a duvet cover yesterday and I didn't have fun. So, more of that, please.
Yes, please.
Well, all week we've been asking for your thoughts from CES, everything that we're covering, some stuff that maybe we haven't covered. So we said, hey, send us your thoughts. And you did. Thank you for sending them. Here are a few that we thought everybody might be interested in hearing.
Yeah, in response to the story of HP selling a computer and a keyboard for enterprise, Matt wrote, when discussing the keyboard, I was thinking it might be useful in conjunction with glasses that act as a display, many of which you've also talked about, especially in a cramped environment like an airplane. Now this HP keyboard I don't think has a battery, but if you could get the power source to it, yeah, plug that X-Reel into it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty slick. Actually,
That's not bad.
That's a fine use case.
The mouse would be the next tricky part, but you can get wireless mouse. Yeah, trackball. Oh yeah, that's a good one, Amos.
And if you're using the glasses, you can kind of just pinch in the air of what you want. If we
Oh,
if we're going
if
in
you
the
get that
future,
kind of
let's
glasses.
go way in the
Depending
future.
which
Little
Let's just
glasses.
pinch
gesture
and
control.
yeah.
In response to the story about Gmail sunsetting POP3 earlier in the week, Stim wrote, "Wow, POP3 was still alive at Gmail? Even in a slow-moving government, we've had that turned off for years." He works for a government company. And in my for-profit industry days, I remember getting rid of POP3 was a major initiative to get to current standards, even at a small publications and fulfillment-oriented organization way back in 2010.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's still a lot of folks that use POP3. Like if you get your own web hosting and you have email with it, the chances are that it's a POP3 server.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool that if you use Gmail as your primary email, you could use it to pull in from POP3. So you're going to have to go find another device at this
Just
point.
use IMAP or- yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot more. I actually thought that there's a lot of people who are using it that I didn't think were.
Just use Pine. No, nobody remembers Pine. And in response to our kickoff interview with CTA CEO Gary Shapiro, Andre wrote, "I liked the mention of accessibility technology. I read a quote last week that everyone is temporarily abled. Everyone ages and has health issues, especially since people are living longer."
That's so true.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind if you're like, well, that doesn't apply to me. Well, it doesn't apply to you now. And then finally, C-SPAN had some questions for us based on what we've seen over the course of the live coverage. Said thank you for the live coverage of CES. Great crew on site and in the studios, lively and fun. I'm wondering if these were items you saw at CES. Consumer drones, especially because of the change with DJI sales to the US, and fitness hardware that works with Apple Fitness and Apple Watch.
So as I am walking through the show and seeing you guys make drones, the first question is, where do you make them and what are you going to do? So DJI they're not here. They're not. They would normally be here in a big way. They simply aren't. But the other drone makers are like, hey, they all have plans. We need to talk to this person. We need to talk to this person, and we'll get a waiver. So drones are not going to disappear. They will still be a thing. But it is at the forefront of what people are thinking about. They are all saying that they've got a story that they need to tell and figure out how to actually get their drones approved. So it's going to happen.
I think you were talking to one company that already sources its parts within North America.
So
right?
Helio, I actually got a good interview with them. They actually are one of the few manufacturers that they completely are here in the United States. They do everything in Richmond, Texas.
Yeah.
So their phones have been ringing off the hook for the last 3 weeks. And it's actually been longer because the people who are using commercial drones have known about this for a year. It just happened, but we've been talking about doing this for a year. So because they make their drones here in the United States, they're good, and they're one of the few companies that are just so good they don't have to do anything different than what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and Insta360, which makes really good cameras and gimbals and all that sort of thing, is right down the road here in the Central Hall, and they are showing off a drone as well. So that's kind of the state of the drones. Anybody see any good fitness hardware? Apple Fitness hardware? I didn't.
Lots of fitness hardware, but
Lots
nothing
of- yeah, but
specific,
nothing specific to Apple
Apple
Fitness.
Right.
You know, anytime I see anything that's iOS only, it's an immediate
just turn
pass.
around.
for me.
Yeah.
I just go the other way.
I'm so with you, Trisha.
Well, all right. Before we wrap up here, any last thoughts about CES in general? Like, what was the overall trend? What was your overall feeling about it? Seems like obviously robots was the not surprise trend, but it sort of dominated things. Obviously, the RGB TVs were really big on the first days of the show with all the press conferences around it. Trish, let's start with you. Do you have a thought on the overall trend?
The big thing that's hard to avoid this year is AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere and it's in everything. And sometimes it's not really in everything. They're just saying it is. And differentiating between different types of AI, like that's kind of the exhaustion that I feel. Like, we had the CESs that were all the Internet of Things, and we had, every couple years we have a new trendy thing at CES. And right now it's like, I was laughing with some of my friends about I don't know if you remember the AI thermal paste. thing. It's just like everyone's like, and it's AI. Make sure you mention it's AI. And you're like, but it's not. That's a
But it's not.
sensor.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You know what? I don't know if you noticed this, but I found that there are a lot of companies trying not to use AI and just talk about functionality.
That's so smart from a marketing perspective.
And you can kind of tell if it's a more legitimate use of AI because they use the word less and they talk more about like, oh, it's got a smart image sensor, or it's got an algorithm that can identify this. And I noticed when just popping around, seeing like if I saw AI big on the poster, there was less to it.
Yeah.
But they were the companies that understand like, yeah, that term just gets thrown around as a little more meaningless and actually had a legitimate thing. Could it describe that legitimate thing?
Yeah. What is the end user benefit? That's what we care about.
Mobility was big this year. It's kind of big every year, but it's really cool to see what companies are thinking about of how we can make life better for people.
Yeah.
So whether it be glasses that allow someone who's visually impaired to better perceive the world by hey, this is Trish, but they can't see your face, but it knows you because they've already got you in your contacts, and it just says, hey, here's Trish walking up on you, and it literally talks to you conversation like, hey, here's Trish walking up on you.
Nice.
It's just cool to see. We saw a lot of stuff that help people who have mobility issues. With the wheelchairs. One of the award winners was a wheel that you can attach that is really cool. So I thought that was cool. And the other part, and it is an AI show. There are so many manufacturers, especially when you go over to the South Hall, that we are building devices that interface with ChatGPT or interface with Gemini. There's just these devices. Don't know what the devices are supposed to be, but we're building them. And we're going to connect to these AI bots, and hopefully you will buy them and wear them on you, or whether it be on your a lapel, you put them in your pocket, you wear them around your neck. There are so many devices. Many of them you would think that they look like phones, but they're saying no, these aren't phones. They just look like phones. They're a little smaller than a phone. They have a screen on them, and you can talk to ChatGPT, but it's like a purpose-built device. So AI is in everything at this show.
Yeah. Richard, what about you? Did you identify a trend that we haven't really talked about?
Yeah, well, I think last year the thing that you couldn't avoid was pull robots everywhere. And I think this year we're seeing the category of yard robotics expand dramatically. Every company out there seems to have either a yard robot that is a mower or does some other function in the yard. You mentioned the Yarbo. That's one of my favorite product lines, actually. It can do everything for you, including acting as a sentry. And the pull robots are getting more clever in terms of how they approach things. I saw one that was solar powered yesterday. It's a really huge expansion in that space that excites me. I think it's a useful product category.
Fantastic.
Well, folks, this is our last day at CES, and we're leaving today, but we're definitely going to probably still be talking about it. So if you've got some thoughts, if you've been thinking about something, please give us your insight. You can share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
All right, let's just take a breath and say well done, everybody, on the CES coverage. Woo! I mean, it's not done here yet because we got to break all this stuff down and get it out of here, right, Amos?
Yeah, so to everybody working on the production as well.
Yeah. So Amos and Kevin helping Amos with the setup. Amos bringing all this tech in from Alaska to do it. Well done. Roger and Sarah for keeping the home fires burning. Thank you
Burning
guys
fires.
for showing up. Let's not talk about that. Too soon. And thank you to all our guests all week, especially Richard and Trish today. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having
coming
me.
in. Thanks to David Katzmaier for coming in. Thanks to the CTA for accommodating us. And thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. It is because you listen and you support us on Substack and patreon.com/DTNS that we're able to do this kind of coverage. So thank you. And if you'd like to become a patron, patreon.com/DTNS. That's a wrap. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.